The second meeting of the season for the RNG British Talent Cup on the support for the MotoGP, and it was Filip Saraviak who blasted away from pole position once again, but with big pressure from behind. It was Peter Willis who mounted a serious challenge to the man who had dominated proceedings at the opening round at Donington Park, fighting through the first couple of corners, but it was Saraviak who found his way through, not without pressure from behind though, with Ryan Frost and Harrison McKay trying to go around him, and Julian Correa also throwing his hat into the ring as well after a disappointing opening meeting. Things getting very, very close down into Stowe Corner. McKay was able to fight at the front, but it was Saraviak on the last lap who managed to take the lead very late in the lap and take his third consecutive victory of the season. Round 3 of the RNG British Talent Cup comes from Snetterton, and once again it is Filip Saraviak who has put it on pole position, the man that they just cannot stop at the moment. 3 out of 4 wins, the first person ever to do that in this championship, but he's got stiff competition. We saw there Jack Dunnerby, one of 2 rookie sensations here in this championship. Harrison McKay, second in the championship, starting in 4th position. Mason Foster, the Mortimer Racing bike that is taking it to the RS Run machines. Ethan Sparks, the second of our 14-year-old debutants, or our rookies for this season, I should say. He starts in 2nd position. But up at the front of the field, the city lifting team by RS Racing. Number 75, Filip Saraviak, 3 out of the 4 wins that we've had so far. And the one he didn't take was because he had a very, very late drama out there with a fall on the last lap at Silverstone. And so the result there on a very wet day actually went to Peter Willis, who's now 4th in the standings. Danny Buchan alongside me. This grid, once again, delivering in droves. We've got the experienced guys out there, but the rookies doing an incredible job, especially out there under the limelight of MotoGP at Silverstone.
Yeah, you've got Peter Willis there, you just mentioned, is back in 16th on the grid, so a real shake-up here. Obviously, the conditions were a bit funny, as we saw at Silverstone there, and yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this one. You know, Ethan Sparks, smaller guy, he's going off the front row here. Obviously, we've got Filip Saraviak, who's been winning lately. He's been quite dominant, so, you know, I'm looking forward to it, and yeah, I think we're in for an excited race, guys.
Let's go through the championship standings, and Filip Saraviak leads the way by 10 points to Harrison McKay after his fall last time out. Ryan Frost a further 2 points back. Peter Willis now up to 4th in the standings after taking the victory last time out. Ethan Sparks there in 5th position, already a podium finisher this season, ahead of Jack Dunnerby, who has also claimed a podium finish this season. Mason Foster, George Bowes, Clayton Edmonds and Julian Correa there inside the top 10. Going through the grid then, Filip Saraviak starting on pole position once again, the championship leader ahead of Ethan Sparks and Mason Foster on the Mortimer Racing machine. Second in the championship is Harrison McKay, starting in 4th position, and then Jack Dunnerby and Ryan Frost, who's 3rd in the championship on the Fibertech by MLab Honda. Julian Correa, the Barcelona-based Floridian, starts alongside his countryman from Pennsylvania, Josh Raymond Jr. and Jensen Bishop. Clayton Edmonds completing the top 10. Looking further down is the one that Danny just mentioned, our Silverstone race winner, Peter Willis, going from 16th on the grid. Incredible shake-up here, but up at the front of the field, it's those same familiar names, Saraviak, Sparks, Dunnerby and McKay, who were all absolutely stellar at Donington Park. And one thing we talked about there a lot, Danny, was the fact that because Sparky is such a wee young'un, the fact that he's so small means that he's very good in a straight line, got good slipstream opportunities there. Surely, even if Saraviak with the best launch in the world is going to struggle to pull away from him. Yeah,
I think Filip's tactics got to be to just try and push on in that get a first, you know, clean corner, turn 1, turn 2, get himself into that infield and really try and put a little bit of a gap into Ethan Sparks, because I really think we're going to see Ethan use the slipstream to his advantage. But also, I think Dunnerby's, I think he's going to be there. Obviously, Harrison McKay, again, a little bit taller, but, you know, it seems that Soroviak, in his qualifying lap, anyway, he had 0.6 over the field. So, you know, I don't know if he'll be able to do that lap on lap, but I think he's going to try his best to just get away and stay out of trouble.
Yeah, it's one thing to do it in a qualifying session. It is another to do it for 12 laps of racing. The ice creams are in huge demand because it is incredibly hot out there. Bit of drama, though, for Jack Burrows, I'm just hearing. He's pulled into pit lane at the end of this warm-up lap. Now, where was he due to start? I think slightly further down the order. Yeah, down in 17th position, so there'll be a gap on the grid where his bike is supposed to be, but the green flag is waved at the rear of the field. And we will have 12 laps of racing in the third meeting of the season for the R&G British Talent Cup. Great start by the positive, and Ethan Sparks gets away very well from second position, side by side between the two stable mates going into Ritchie's for the first time, and it's Sparky who leads ahead of Soroviak, and it looks like Harrison McKay might have gotten the jump on Mason Foster there in fourth position. Yes, Jack Dunderby following him through as well. Look at Sparky backing it up into the Wilson hairpin. He's gone wide, and that has allowed Soroviak to go back through.
Yeah, Soroviak just hit his mark there, broke and used his weight to his advantage, you know, got the bike stopped, and yeah, Sparks hasn't actually lost that much. He's lost a little bit of time there, but not too much to Soroviak. But it's so key for these guys to just get through these first two laps, you know, with these sort of corners, the stop-start corners.
Brian Frost making a move on the inside on that number 24 Fibertech machine. He's side by side with Julian Correa. Two down at Agostini. One of them is the number 19 of Scott McPhee. And the other one, it looks like the airbags have gone off there as well, but Scott McPhee and one else down as well.
Or ignore me, just yeah, have a little crash at there. It's very hard. You've got a lot of bikes to get through those little turns. It's good to see he's got his arm around him. Good sportsmanship. To learn that at a young age is mega, because, you know, no one wants to crash, let's face it. But,
Jensen Bishop, the other one who went down there, sadly.
It does catch you out. Sometimes you might get into a little bit of a draft from somebody, and, you know, you end up missing your braking marker by such a little amount that it does affect you. But as we can see here, look, even Sparks is going with Soroviak, and if he can just stay there in the turns and just put himself in position, it's always a telltale sign as well along the start-finish where they're going to make the move if they can do it before the finish line.
Scott McPhee, of course, got to race at the same event as his cousin, who was making his Moto3 debut that weekend. But up at the front of the field, Filip Soroviak leading the way. Three-time winner already this season, already surpassing his win tally from last year as well in the first two meetings of the season. It's been an incredible start for Filip Soroviak. He leads by just over 0.2 of a second at the end of the first lap of racing. It is Harrison McKay, Jack Dunderby and Julian Correa side by side with Brian Frost across the line in their battle for 5th and 6th position. And I believe it's Frosty who just came out on top in that one. But between the top two, Soroviak and Sparks once again, shades of Donington, Danny.
Yeah, Willis is up to 9th. He's made a fantastic first lap. You know, he's 2.9 seconds down in that opening lap, but he is up to 9th place, and it's you can really pull some time here on these straights.
So we're going to see what happened down at Agostini. And you see, I think it was Jensen Bishop trying to go down the inside, maybe even trying to bail out of that one, but then just clipping the rear of John McPhee's bike.
Yeah, it happens. It is a bit of a shame. But yeah, look, they're just saying, look, sorry, mate.
Scott McPhee. I knew I was going to do that at some point this season.
Maybe we'll just call him McPhee.
Yes.
And maybe we won't get told off for that by then. But yeah, look, we'll go back to the front. McKay's doing a good job. He's hanging in there. You know, he's a bigger guy, and hanging in there in that midsection is the one. But he's Soroviak's riding the wheels off this bike. It's making all sorts of shapes on turn one earlier. Look at the speed of Sparks there. On this is where he's really got to make the most of his size.
This is what we were talking about, the little pocket rocket down there on 62. Of course, all 4 of those bikes in the top 4 might have different names on them compared to the one leading, but they are all coming out the same RS stable. The third place machine of Harrison McKay, the slightly more experienced one, 17 years old, the same age as Filip Soroviak. Oh no, actually, sorry, slightly older than Filip Soroviak, 16-year-old now. in his third season of the British Talent Cup, and then the one in the middle, the youngest and least experienced of the lot of them.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm a big fan of Ethan Sparks, as I mentioned already this year. But Soroviak is doing a great job. You know, in that last sector there, he managed to pull quite a lot of time there. He pulled 0.2 just in that sector alone. And the guys are going to have to try and figure out a way of getting close to him, to getting him. Oh, as we see, Ethan Sparks there nearly lost the front. The rear was sliding.
Whoa,
and don't look over your shoulder. That's naughty, naughty, naughty. We like to look forward, please. But Soroviak's doing a great job in his infield, and Ethan Sparks is pushing. You know, he knows if he's there, he can have a go.
Soroviak was right up on the curbing on the exit of the Wilson hairpin as well. But the fastest man last time around was the man in third position, Harrison McKay, as again Sparky looks to the inside of Agostini. And I think Soroviak was forced to just leave a little bit of space there on the inside just in case, but was able to turn through with no real obstruction alongside him. Sparky settling in behind, but he's looking very good at it. He just popped the rear wheel in the air going into Oggies.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a bump there as you brake into Oggies, and usually it catches people out in the wet because it's just as you're leaning over on the brake, and you find a lot of riders actually end up crashing there just because of that. And as you saw there, even for Ethan Sparks there, you know, the rear wheel was off the ground. But Soroviak's doing a great job here. He's really handling the pressure well. You know, he's got a little bit loose at times, but he's doing a good job. And you can just see, like what I said earlier about the telltale sign of where they're faster. You know, no one's getting anywhere near Soroviak over the start-finish line, which means that if he can get on the last lap at this point now, you know, no one's going to be able to pass him.
Soroviak from my neck of the woods, from Morden in southwest London, end of the tube line.
Posh.
Not something anyone should see. We're going to gloss over that one, Daniel.
Personal dig at each other then, that one.
Yeah. So end of lap number 3, Soroviak, how much he's managed to pull.
So
just
good in
a
that
few
last
corners.
sector. I know, and I
So
keep
good.
saying it. He's, I don't know if it's through quorum. Yeah, look, he's took 0.6 out of him in that last sector alone. And I don't know, it must be the entry speed to quorum from the bomb hole. The track goes down, up, elevates up, and it turns into a real fast right-hander. And I just wonder if Soroviak's just pushing on there. Obviously, he's pushing on there because he's rapid. But Ethan Sparks is looking exciting. His foot's down, he's sideways into the hairpins. He is enjoying himself. And even if he's seeing Soroviak pass him by, you know, and obviously pull away, he's still enjoying himself. And he's riding that bike. He's full of energy. And I think we're in for a really exciting career following Ethan Sparks.
It's nearly 3/4 of a second now, the advantage for Philip Soroviak after doing the fastest lap of the race at 2:02.4. And so it is Sparks now actually falling back into the clutches of his other teammate, Harrison McKay, the more experienced, as we mentioned. Great battling happening further down the field. We've got the Fibertech machine, Josh Raymond Jr. slicing through on the inside. It's a little bit further back on Mason Foster in 88, who, remember, he started on the front row of the grid. Not the kind of pace I expected to see from Mason here.
No, exactly, and you've got Jack Dunnerby there. He's in 4th place, having a little bit of a lonely-ish ride. You know, he's got half a second behind him, and yeah, there's...
excuse me, I was completely wrong. It's not Mason Foster. It is Clayton Edmonds in 64. Similar-looking machines, but also to that point, which still stands Foster just in front of them in 7th position.
Yeah, don't worry, man. We won't hold you to that one. You know, it's. But yeah, they're having a great ride. You know, that's. You know, got Carrera there in 6th place. You know, I thought he was going to be a little bit faster here this weekend, and very wide line.